Cern Basher is here. I understand he brings slides. Did you bring any slides today, Cern?
We're going to slide into the weekend, Randy.
We slide into the weekend. I was mentioning in the green room that we're sitting here at 3:46. We're only, a few minuscule. This is, by the way, 12 o'clock California time on Thursday, depending, I don't know when this thing will show. Anyway, as we're sitting here on Thursday, getting close to the close at 3:46, maybe we get over 350 today. CERN, 365 tomorrow, 440 next week, and all-time high the next week. It sounds good to me, right?
I'm not going to argue with you, Randy. I'm not sure I agree with you, but I'm not going to argue with you.
Well, so, and if I hit it, do I get a special dispensation or
You
compensation?
will be recognized, yes.
It will be recognized. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's good. That's good. Recognition is, that's a positive thing.
It's about all you can hope for, I think. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, it's certainly the news has been good on the economic front the last couple of days. The only thing is the bonds. I think we'll talk about that in part two of this two-part series. I really want to talk to you about those bonds. It's a troubling issue. But in the meantime, looks like robotaxis are going to be rolling out here in 2 weeks. And do you have any slides on robotaxis today?
We're going to cover a whole smattering of Tesla-related items today.
Okay.
Yep.
A
Should be some
smattering.
interesting stuff.
Okay.
A smattering.
Is this is a technical term?
A highly technical term.
Highly technical term. Okay. All right. Well, listen, without further ado, if you would like to dive in, I think I've
Sounds
prepared
good.
the way.
You've set it up perfectly, and we're going to start at the bottom and we're going to build our way up.
Okay. At the
So
bottom.
have you heard, Randy, that Elon has, the decline and fall of Elon Musk, that he has reached rock bottom?
I saw the headline. I saw the headline. How could you miss it? I don't trust the Atlantic anyway. I have not read it. I probably won't read it. Did you read it?
No,
Oh no.
no, it's just too comical to even consider reading. Especially I thought this was good. Mainstream media, Elon is in decline, the decline.
Yeah.
And then there was a number of screens of things that he and his companies and his teams have done. It's pretty staggering.
Pretty staggering. Yes.
If this is a man in decline, then let's have more of this.
Yes, and as he pointed out yesterday, I mean, I think that the article, the subtitle tends to suggest that he's in decline politically because,
Yeah.
the White House is no longer paying attention to him. But he was at the White House yesterday for the meeting with South Africa. He was also in another meeting at the White House yesterday. And as he pointed out in an interview he just recently did, 160, if it's really only 160 billion that Doge has done so far, that ain't small change.
That's right. And they also need Congress to act, right?
They
It's
do.
not just
Yes.
a unilateral thing on the behalf of the Doge team. I think people are misunderstanding that still.
Right. 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 Right.
Um, so that was good. And I think this next image is the image of the week. We're
It's
coming for you, Randy.
coming for me. I thought maybe this was to remind us of the days of the Second World War, when Uncle Sam had a similar pose.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll see lots of different memes using this image at some point, but this was a pretty funny part of his interview at the Qatar Economic Forum, I think it was,
Oh, okay.
where he was kind of harassed in the interview.
Yes,
I thought he
definitely.
handled himself pretty well. But yeah, this is a great shot. I'll be using this again. All right, usual disclaimer. And for those that missed out on this last week and were disappointed that we didn't have any Cybertruck images, we're going to make up for it this week. This is a nice one, and then of course these beautiful red Cybertrucks.
Yeah,
When,
yeah.
when I saw this video, I didn't even realize that the President of the United States motorcade was behind there. I was so fixated on watching the Cybertrucks,
Yeah,
I
yes.
didn't see anything behind them.
Yeah, yeah, those are wild. That's quite the paint job.
They're beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, apparently the president was somewhere behind all that, but the two most beautiful things are in the front there.
Exactly right.
Yeah. And then speaking of red vehicles, this was seen on a racetrack in California. And something interesting about this vehicle, Randy, do you see what it is?
Well, I'm not a huge I don't spend a lot of time looking at design and whatnot. I did read at least one or two headlines suggesting that maybe this is an updated Model S, that there are some changes, but you probably have to walk me through them because I'm a little dense in that area.
Well, I'm a little dense in that area as well, but
Okay.
this one is pretty obvious. Look at this photo. Do you see the back of the car?
Yes, yes. With the
How
wing,
about that?
the wing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Now, I
could,
don't
I
know if
could,
this is just testing purposes. I would imagine it might be.
yeah.
Um, I doubt that they're going to come out with a car with a wing that retracts like that,
Probably not. My guess
right?
is I think they were recently beaten again in a couple of these competitions, and I suspect that Elon doesn't like that at all. So it may be that he's trying to retake the top of the pack.
Well, there's an easy solution for that. It's just come out with the Roadster, and then you know, with the solid gas thrusters and everything, that problem solved.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So today we're marking a milestone.
Oh,
So today in 2009, Daimler acquired 10% of Tesla, right? And it did pretty well. They invested apparently 50 million and sold it for something like 1 billion.
it's a good deal.
But that would be worth 100 billion today had they kept it.
100 billion, 110, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
Oh,
So, not not bad. Um, any guess on how much Mercedes-Benz is worth today as a company?
maybe less than 110 billion.
57.
57 billion. If they'd only
Yeah.
owned the 10%, they'd be that's amazing.
Isn't it amazing? So we've got this is the largest automakers by market cap. We've got Tesla here at 1.1 trillion.
Yeah,
We've got Toyota at 240 billion.
right.
Xiaomi, which is kind of an automaker, also other things,
Yes,
but
yes.
177 billion. BYD 173 billion. Then we've got Ferrari, good for them,
Yeah,
88 billion.
yeah.
And then number six, the
Ah,
Mercedes-Benz,
ah,
57.
yeah.
We got GM down here at 47, and we got Ford all the way at the bottom here, number 13 at 41 billion.
This is the story for Mercedes-Benz in this is actually such a, what would you call it? A metaphor for all of us investors. It's like, you're on a good ride
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, do I take my profits or do I hang in there and maybe go down again? And especially with Tesla. But yeah, what a story.
I mean, I'd be happy to turn 50 million into 1 billion. I'd be pretty happy with that. But,
Yeah.
to turn 1 billion into 100 billion, that's I guess even better.
One
Yeah.
would say, yeah,
Yeah. So I just wanted to remember that. Apparently today was the day that all that happened in 2009. So we should remember these things.
6 years ago.
16.
Oh, I'm sorry, 19, 16 years ago. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, yep.
Yep. All right. And then we have some, I guess, service marks or trademarks that have been applied for robotaxi and cybercab. So I guess no big surprise, but they're, very Cybertruck looking, cyber looking. I guess they're going to go with that theme.
Yeah,
Um, I'm a little surprised about the robotaxi. To me, I mean, not all the vehicles are. Well, I guess the cybercab is, cyber looking, but I
right,
don't know.
right.
I was a little surprised to see this design, frankly. I like it though, but I thought that they would use this lettering for the Cybertruck and Cybercab,
Yeah,
and not necessarily the same branding for the robotaxi network itself.
exactly, exactly. Yes.
But it works. It looks great. Now, we've also caught wind, Randy, of some new cybercab designs, right? And so there are certain markets in the world where having a different design might be important. And this one comes courtesy of Tom. He's got this image of a cybercab prototype designed specifically for the London market.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
Okay. And then we have another one in a second, but first of all, quick diversion. Elon Musk confirmed this week that there's no reason for Tesla to buy Uber. And I thought Hallmark's catalog comment here, sorry, Gary, was quite nice. But
so
anyway, speaking of, sorry, go ahead.
I'm thinking that Gary is going to be eating a lot of crow over the next couple of weeks.
He may well be. We'll see. Yeah, he's standing firm. But instead of Uber, we now have a new ride-hailing service called Gruber.
Goober.
So, there's some good innovation out there, Randy. Let's just say that.
That's right. That's right.
And without LiDAR, without FSD, it's just a good new service.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of LiDAR, yesterday I saw an interview with the co-CEO of Waymo.
The co-CEO.
Yeah. She's not an engineer. Um, and she's had stints, I think, at eBay and AOL and some other companies. Um, Quite a long interview. I think it was about 20 minutes, if I remember correctly. And I picked out just three little quotes here. She says, "For us, there's no reason to eliminate aspects that make it safe." And again, the questioner was sort of asking questions in the context of them and Tesla. And she also said it's really important to focus on safety, then cost, not cost, then safety.
Right.
And lastly, she said you have to be able to see at night. So I guess FSD doesn't work at night because the car can't see. I don't know. So I tagged this gentleman, JC here. He drives a Tesla for a ride-hailing service at night.
Right. Yes.
And so I wanted to check with him and see if he's actually able to do that using
Yeah.
FSD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did he respond?
He may have, but you know what? We just came on the air here, so I haven't had a
Oh,
chance
okay.
to see.
I've driven FSD at night. CERN, you?
I have too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I didn't, I thought, in fact, I've seen some postings of people who say the thing they like the best about FSD is that they feel safer at night because their own skills at night are so much reduced.
That's
And
right. And
it's certainly true. The older you get and your eyesight starts to go, your reflexes start to go. And yeah, people feel safer at night even than in the day.
yeah, it sees things, I think, that it's hard to see at night, like an animal, for example, darting across the road.
Sure.
And I appreciate it for that, for sure. Yeah. So anyway, she was throwing some shade on Tesla in that interview. But yeah. I commented on this post. My response was Tesla for people who care about safety, not just the illusion of safety,
Yes.
right? And the Model 3 tested by Euro NCAP was the highest rated vehicle I think they've ever tested.
Right.
And there's a video here. It's about 2.5 minutes long. It's worth watching. But here's the chart, and I can actually expand it here. Model 3 there at the top, 5 stars, and then they've got 4 different categories, and it's the highest numbers in all 4 categories.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, I guess they feel that the Audi A6 has a slightly higher safety rating and restraint or something, but Tesla's pretty much at the highest of all these categories.
Right. Right.
So that's good. If you want to protect your family, Tesla is a good vehicle to be in. And that's been verified now, worldwide by different testing agencies.
Exactly.
And I would say too that the other vehicles are raising their game. I mean, I think Tesla has set a higher bar, and a lot of other companies now are moving up towards that, which is great to see.
Yeah. And of course, Volvo, used to be considered to be the one that put all their eggs in that basket. If you wanted to buy, it was ugly, but it was dependable and very, very safe. But Polestar is kind of a version of Volvo, but you don't see Volvo itself anywhere on the list.
No, no, not anymore. By the way, in this video, they did what I would call Dan O'Dowd test, where they had sort of, dummies walk across the street and they
Yeah.
had bicycles and pedestrians.
Oh,
So it's worth a look in terms of seeing how the Tesla car was able to stop for all those situations.
and they
Doesn't
also,
just mow down people.
yeah, and they also talk about things that I guess nobody else does, like the car dipping. If it knows it's going to hit a pedestrian, the nose dips down before it hits. So that's stuff like that is just kind of like over the top.
Yeah. Maybe for the Cybertruck, there should be an arm that comes out that grabs the person out of the way. Yeah. All right. I thought this was a cute cartoon in relation to this. My bad. I ignored the signal and trusted my gut. Now, this is a stock market cartoon. You've got a bull driving his car. So, you know. All right. Here's a new vehicle, Randy, for Tesla.
Uh-huh.
Been spotted in the wild. It's the largest EV in the world. Driving around here looks pretty nice.
Yeah.
Might have a little trouble parking this thing though. But apparently it's the world's largest electric vehicle. It's the E-Dumper, a really clever name,
Yeah.
really descriptive. 45-ton mining truck in Switzerland. And it can carry 65 tons. And apparently it can finish a shift with more charge than it started thanks to the regen braking.
Wow.
This is actually a Komatsu truck, not Tesla. But we can pretty much electrify everything.
Sure, sure. Absolutely.
So that's nice. All right, let's switch over to the energy side of the business.
Okay.
Okay, so Joe Techmeyer is taking these images here of the Megapack #2 installation in Giga, Texas. Okay, and so here's some images. This installation, by my count, has 74 megapacks. Okay, so there's sort of 2 by 2 back to back here.
Okay, I see. Mm-hmm.
This isn't one, but this is two
Right, right,
units.
right.
Okay. And Randy, just while we're here, do you see something that's combined with the Megapack? You've got Megapacks. What are these?
Yeah, well, I'm thinking they would be some kind of, I don't know. What do I know?
They're transformers.
Okay, transformers. Okay.
Okay, and for now, just make a mental note that you've
Right.
got one transformer for every 2 megapacks.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so you've got, quite a few transformers as well, right?
36. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. 37. And this is the second Megapack installation at Giga Texas.
Right.
The first one is just over here in this image. And I believe that has something like 68 megapacks. So it's about the same size, maybe slightly smaller.
Okay.
Okay. Now, this one actually maybe it's not fully built out yet, but anyway, it's got 74, maybe 76 megapacks, something like that. Okay. All right. Now, here's another set of images from Joe. And this time he's captured a storage area for transformers. Okay. And they're still unloading them. You caught them here in mid work.
Right.
And I counted all these.
Okay.
And I also counted the secondary site. Okay. Guess how many transformers I counted?
147.
233.
233.
Right? And so if you've got one transformer for every 2 megapacks, this is enough transformers for another 466 megapacks. Right now, there's 142 megapacks or so on site. They're stockpiling transformers that would, be combined with another 466, almost 3.5 times as many.
Yeah.
Right? Again, a car company doing car company things, Randy.
What are they planning?
Exactly. Right?
Yeah.
And just to put that in perspective, this is from the Colossus 2. This is now XAI. This is not
Right.
Giga Texas. This is in Memphis.
Right.
right? And this is their 168 megapacks waiting to be installed.
Right.
And that's what 168 looks like. But again, at Giga Texas, we now have transformers on site that would be enough for
Right.
466 megapacks.
Right.
Okay. Now, either Tesla is expecting, a transformer shortage
Oh,
and they're
yes.
stockpiling, for who knows how long, or they're planning, some big things.
Well, yes. So first of all, Elon said in one of his interviews over the last 2 or 3 days that he expects there to be electrical shortages by next summer. Not this summer, next summer, having to do with data center installations.
Yeah.
So one of the things he's been talking about for over a year now is that the transformers are an issue. So he might be stockpiling for his own use. I did also read a fairly long article a few days ago about how they bring in these gas turbines and they use the gas turbines when they're first setting up. But as
Yep.
they can bring in megapacks, they're able to reduce the number of gas turbines, and maybe even to zero at some point. That the electrical supply coming in from the utilities or whatever, and maybe solar, whatever other ways they've got, combined with the megapacks, make up for the gas turbines.
hmm Yeah, I think I read something about that too, that the turbines they'd used for the Colossus 1 had been shut off, but they were using those to power up Colossus 2.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, let's go from Colossus to Optimus.
Okay.
So everybody saw this great
Right.
video. And this is always fun to watch. And there's a lot of things in here. I'm curious, Randy, what your thoughts were about this.
Yeah. So I thought that these were, on the face of them, it was good to see Optimus doing a whole bunch of different activities completely autonomously, no robot, no supervision or anything else. Sometimes I think they might have some kind of a wire harness just so that if they fall or they don't break. But overall, first impression was good. Kind of seen a lot of robots over the last 2 years doing similar kinds of activities. So there wasn't anything really super new, super more dexterous. Let me try that word a third time. No, not more dexterous, not faster, not more capably, but a lot of activities. But then you read the information that accompanies it, and that's when it gets exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I would agree with you. It was neat to see Optimus doing all these things. It's neat to hear that you can give them verbal commands.
Yes.
And of course, we always knew that that was coming, but it's neat to actually, have that confirmed. I thought the most interesting thing for me was this scene here.
Okay.
And it was cool to see Optimus, doing this work. But look at this Optimus here in the background, in the top middle.
Okay. Yep. Yep.
This Optimus has different arms and
Oh.
hands.
Oh.
And according to Scott Walter, these are the 22 degree of freedom hands.
Okay.
And he said you can always tell because you don't see the black actuators in the forearm.
Oh.
You can't see the hand. You can still tell by whether those big bulky actuators are there. And this one, they're not there. They're missing. You can see gray hands and very slim forearms. Okay, so they're testing that too, even though they don't really show us any of that on the video.
Right. Right.
Yeah, they're being pretty coy with that. But when Secretary Duffy was at Giga Texas, I think maybe the next day, or maybe it was the same day, I forget, all this runs together for me now. But we had Optimus, a couple of Optimus dancing there, right? And these are the
Yes.
ones with the old forearms. But on the table, you can see two
Oh.
hands,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And here's a hand maybe with with a kind of a glove, and then here's the kind of the raw hand. And here's kind of what it looks like.
Uh-huh.
The slim forearm. Now these were just attached to a table, but again, functionally, same thing. Um, and so here's the one with the gray hand. Nice, slim, very human looking hand,
Right. Right.
right? And I don't know that we've seen anything quite like that from any of the other robotics makers. And again, we haven't seen this hand in action yet and what it can do,
Hmm.
but this is what I'm excited to learn more about, hopefully in the coming months. Okay, and here again is the robot with the previous generation hands and the forearms. But on the table there is that one, and then as he moved over, you could kind of see the other hand
Right, right,
without
right.
the glove. There were some pretty quick views of that in this video between the two.
Yeah, very cool.
Okay, so that was promising, and again, can't wait to learn more about that. I thought this was pretty funny. Look at these kids addicted to technology, right?
I think this should become, kind of, I should be using this as my main kind of advertisement for my channel because, I keep repeating and repeating and repeating until ad infinitum that the introduction of the robotaxi will be the biggest introduction of any product since Fire, and will have greater immediate financial ramifications than Fire, the Wheel, or anything else that's come before it, including the iPhone.
Yep, and that's until Optimus is introduced. But yes, you're
Until
right.
until Optimus, yes, right.
Yeah, yeah, and I also thought this was good from the past. This is from I believe 1966. Math teachers protest against calculator use.
They didn't want to lose those slide rules.
Yeah,
Sir,
it says
I'm enough older than you. Did you use a slide rule in school?
I did not, but my
Huh?
father had one, and I always wondered what the heck it was.
Yeah, so we used slide rules in school.
He never bothered to show me how it worked. My father was a math teacher, by the way,
Oh,
so
okay, yes.
you would have thought that he would have shown me. Um, yeah, and he's not in this image, so that would be even funnier if my dad was one of the protesters. This sign here, I believe, says turn them off until upper grades.
Wow.
So
Wow.
at least they're giving, they're giving something. They're not just saying no calculators.
Right, right, right.
Yeah. So anyway, that was pretty good. All right, Randy, this I think brings us to the end of this show, but this is a nice image I thought of Starship at the top here, and then the booster, and just how large it is compared to the Statue of Liberty. Now,
Wow.
again, most of us think we know how tall Statue of
Yeah,
Liberty is, but until
yeah.
you stand underneath it, you don't appreciate how big it is. But you can see here, it's really just part of how
Right,
tall the
right.
entire Starship is.
So CERN, let's talk about Robotaxi and Optimus just for another minute. I put out a list today of 11 what I consider to be the most important um, moats around the Robotaxi. I said the number one moat for Robotaxi actually was the number zero moat. It was before you even get to number one, was that Elon Musk is in charge of it.
Yeah,
Nobody else has that.
right.
There's some really smart people over at Google. There's some really smart people over at Uber. But Elon this is his focus, his concentration. The president, the CEOs of Google, they're not concentrating on Waymo. It's like one little thing over here on the side. But you got the smartest entrepreneur, maybe in not just a generation, maybe a millennia, who his focus right now for the next several weeks will be finalizing his, I don't know, his magnus opus until Optimus comes along. So
Hmm.
I don't know if you saw my list this morning, probably didn't, but we have so many moats in terms of verticality, in terms of the size of that data center in South Texas, et cetera, et cetera. What are some of the things that you think of, when you think about what Google, what Uber, what anybody that nobody else comes close and could never possibly catch up?
Yeah, I think the key thing for me is the speed of iteration that Tesla can achieve, right? Everybody's focused on, oh, they're only going to have 10 or 20 vehicles. Oh, it's geofenced. Oh, it's invite only. Oh, there may be supervised, whatever, right? But they don't realize how quickly Tesla will move off that mark, right? And Elon has talked about, in a year or so, having 1 million vehicles.
Right.
And no one can fathom that because Waymo is at what, 1,500 or something
The most. Yeah.
at the most after, 15 years of work,
Yeah.
right? They haven't scaled. I mean, kudos to them for doing what they're able to do,
Yeah.
but it's not going to be a cost competitive, scalable solution. And everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people don't understand that yet.
Hmm.
And I guess that's going to be something that Tesla will just have to prove and show everybody that they can scale and ramp very quickly.
Right.
I think we're setting ourselves up potentially for some near-term disappointment if the scaling, is kind of slow, and it
I
may
see.
well be.
Hmm. Hmm.
But you know what? I'd rather than work out whatever kinks there are in June, July, and August, and then scale in the latter half of the year into next year.
Right.
That's perfectly fine with me,
Right.
right? And
Yeah.
so there's a lot related to that in terms of Tesla's ability to be able to iterate. And I suspect that relates to a lot of your other points on your 11-point list.
Yeah, it is a different, which is good. It's always good that you bring something new rather than something I've already said. So there is what I compare it to is Starlink more than anything else. So once you've done the basic work to create the returnable rocket, and therefore you have the lowest cost of getting to space, and you are also very competent. You get, 500 or whatever it's been launches in a row without any kind of a problem. And now you've got 14,000 or whatever the number is, right? I've kind of lost track, but it's up in that kind of number. You got 14,000 satellites up. It's impossible for a new company to come in and start to compete
Mhm.
with that. Now you might do a niche. You might say, "Oh, I'll do some at higher or lower or Earth orbit, or I'll do bigger," or you might come up with a niche. But in terms of going straight up against SpaceX at this point on Starlink, there's not a chance in the world. You can't. Nobody would invest in the idea.
Right.
And I feel like that's the same thing that's going to happen with robotaxi. Is the scale and the competence is so far ahead of everybody else that who would go straight up against Tesla in the future?
Well, and I think we've seen that in the EV market, that Tesla got such a big lead, it was very difficult for anybody to really catch up.
Right.
And maybe there's some Chinese competition that has.
Mhm.
That's great. And I think we'll probably see the same thing in robotaxi. Well, we're definitely going to see the same thing in robotaxi, right? Because there's no other company really even close. And then again, maybe there's a Chinese competitor that gets there. I don't think it's going to be Waymo, right? I think they're going to find themselves, you know, really priced out of the market. Their solution is just too expensive. Right.
I suggested the other day, and because you're in the investing world, I'm going to be interested to hear your thoughts on this, is that for Google, this is a very small business right now compared to, YouTube, and search, etc. And it's
Yeah.
even small compared to some of the things that they're working on in terms of some of this LLMs and the offshoots of the LLMs that are going to be agentic, etc. So it's a small business now. It has the potential to be in that class. But I think as Tesla starts to accelerate and has this moat that we just discussed, I think Google has to look at it and go, no, this is never going to be a big business. We can't, we shouldn't even play in this pond.
Well, especially since their core business is kind of under siege.
Right.
Now operationally, it's doing well.
Right.
It's very profitable, et cetera.
Right.
But it's very clear that people are going to use search less.
Yes.
Right? It's already happening in some circles.
Right.
I hear from a lot of people that they grok things instead of
Oh yeah.
Google search.
100%.
Right? And so clearly that's going to be the trend. So they better be focused on that. Otherwise, they're going to have a major problem. Now, I think initially, actually, AI really helps them on the advertising front,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? It can really focus and target in maybe better. So maybe there's a short-term bump, but it's going to be a bit of a sugar high if they don't really figure this out.
Right.
So in that sense, if you're Google's executive team, you're squarely focused on that and not this opportunity that they may or may not have with Waymo.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I think, yeah, to your point, Waymo is a bit of a distraction. And it wouldn't surprise me if at some point, when Tesla starts to scale this, it becomes painfully obvious that Waymo is never going to get the profitability, that gets shut down pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's kind of how I'm seeing it. All right, I'm going to leave that Optimus conversation for another day. The basic idea, maybe we'll discuss it in part two. The basic idea is that Optimus is not quite the same, but that Optimus, in fact, if it has 100 good competitors, it'll be okay. so, so
Yeah,
because the TAM is so large. But let's leave it. Let's leave it with a
sure.
teaser, and maybe
Okay.
we'll pick that up in part two. All right. So, Cern, as always, thank you for being on board, and we'll see you on the other side. And to all of you out there, it's been great talking to you.
Thanks, Randy.